my channel. My name is Siyam Tolo. Thank you so much for coming through, and to those who are coming for the first time, please remember to subscribe. So today I'm doing a story time. Basically, if I were to give it a title, it would be After God Fear Young Lions. So if you're not familiar with the church culture, young lions are those young pastors in navy blue suits, brown kikamboboza, and happy socks. They usually only just, working for the Lord. They don't have any other job or business or whatever. Like ngesixhosa sithi baphumele inkosi. So those are young lions. So I'm going to be telling a story of this young lion. So we'll call him MZ because those are his initials. Anyways, so Mr. MZ, look, young lion, I knew him from Facebook. And so, men of God, I work in a space where I get to interact a lot with men of God and all these young pastors. And so I know about their thuggery, like if you know, you know, like if you know, you know, young pastors, their business. But like he was kind of like different based on my observation, because I didn't know him. I only just knew him from my Facebook. Like he seemed like a decent, young man. He was my type. He was tall, he was big, he was not as dark like my type dark, but like he was okay. And so I would notice this man of God. I'm not even thinking what he's the type that would slide into my inbox, because he was very serious. He was one of those serious ones. So I get a man of God, go like he's just one of those, that are always talking about Christ, or just always talking celibacy. And I'm like, that's my man, because Sana, we're in this thing. But he was also very much on bashing people that are not celibate. I don't know if I'm putting it right. Let me say this before I forget. I've noticed that usually people who are supposed to be preaching Christ, and then they stretch towards something, and then they speak mostly about that thing that they speak a lot about, like that they bash a lot, is usually that one thing that they are struggling with. But I don't know, man, he was quite subtle in the way that he was, always bashing fornication. Like he was not point blank in your face annoying, type, but like he was just always against fornication. So I'm like, you know what? He's a real man of God. And also he wasn't the type of young lion that's just, pumeling pela. He had businesses, he would talk about his businesses. He was heading his church in KZN. His church was based in KZN. So, but anyways, fast forward, man of God eventually slides into my DMs. I'm like, yeah. So man of God slides into my DM. I'm like, what's up? Siyathetha ke ngoku nobhuti. Ubhuti andixelela what he's about. So he stays in KZN. He's originally from Mpumalanga. Guys, I don't know how many stories I have of pastors from Mpumalanga. Something has to be said about pastors, especially young pastors from Mpumalanga. Like, if you know, you know. Like, honestly, I'm sure every church girl has a story of a pastor from Mpumalanga. Asana uThixo makazityhile in Mpumalanga. Anyways, he was originally from Mpumalanga, but he was heading this church, a small thriving church in KZN. Cool. So we get to know each other. And then we're supposed to obviously meet for a date. So he's going to come down to Joburg. But before then, like he tells me that he has interest in writing books and, other businesses, more like in the media space. So he's going to need my help. My business operates in media, PR, all of that. I'm a journalist by profession. So like, ndizamnceda. And ke ndiqomba kaloku ngumsebenzi wami lo esimamfundisisana ba ndibele uncedo apha iyaqonda sensithi uba ndibe nendima endizayidlala. So ku right. akho ngxaki sana senze uba anything you want. So I ke upastor bengulomuntu kuba he's gonna need my help kwezi zinto, you know, with his books and you know all of that. I'm like, cool, like I'm your girl. And then upastor azoba ngumuntu oba he wants to relocate to Johannesburg. So I'm like, yo, that's great. I mean, sana, yabona into yethu izotsho ihambe kakuhle, yabo ingabi long distance. At this time, like, we're still getting to know each other. But you know each other these days, most. But once it moves from Facebook inbox to WhatsApp, then it's like, hi, seniyajola, you understand? So in as much as we're still getting to know each other, but there's also that tendency of ibengathi sekuna something, but you know, and like I don't mind this because I mean, this man of God right here. So I get man of God, he wants to relocate to Joburg sharp. It's not a problem because his church in KZN, he's gonna be able to drive down or maybe fly down on a Friday and then come back. You know, he's gonna manage the church while he lives here in Joburg because he needs to pursue his businesses here in Joburg. I'm like, great. So then he tasked me to help him look for the place. So I'm gonna be the one that's gonna, you know, do the applications, that's gonna go and view the places and all of that. I'm like, cool, no problem. So I do all of that. Ndimfunele uman of God indawo, ndifumane this nice place in North Riding. That time I was still staying in Honeydew. So I get him this nice place in North Riding. I mean, it's not far from where from where I was staying. So, you know, we're going to be close. And ndibone le ndawo right man. Ndiyazibona ndingumamfundisi kule ndlu like. Ndiyazibona ndingumama walapha ndiqoqozela ndipheke. Yabona la ndawo. Ufumana indawo kube right. It's a 1-bedroom cottage. Because he said he just wants something small that he's going to be able to manage, you know, while he's getting his things together. So I'm like, sharp. Butike ngoku indawo ifumanekile, so ibill it. Hayi ke ngoku ubhuti kucaba apha xa sefika kwibill ke ngoku kaske bendibhatala, like I should be paying for it and then he's gonna reimburse me month end, whatever. I'm like, child, I can't just go play. But anyways, being the person that I am, Shem, I know, but if ndandinayo lo mali ngenda ndimbhatalele, but unfortunately ndandingenayo. And yo guys, now let me say this, I think into endisindisayo mnehlala indisindisayo ixesha elininzi kwezi zinto zaba bantu bazi scammers, like this men that just want to scam women, is the fact that I'm really most of the times in between blessings. I don't want to say broke, but like in between blessings, because I'm a single mother. Imali yami yebills zami nabantwana bami. So after that I'm in between blessings. So andinayo ke imali yobhatalela indawo zohlala amadoda and stuff like that. So ke ngoku ndibe ndingenayo ke imali. So now he doesn't talk about the place anymore, and well, we forget about it. But anyways, he's still gonna come down to Joburg. He has a spiritual father that he basically comes to preach at his church or visit or whatever. And the spiritual father is kind of dodgy. So for me, that was a bit of a red flag. Kaloku sana inja izali kati, you understand? So if a spiritual father wakhe uyile type, there must be some dodginess. And that spiritual father was recently in court for multiple counts of rape. Anyways, so he comes to the spiritual father again. So he was gonna come and then we would meet. So brothers comes and I think it was for a conference that was going to be like a weekend thing. So on the Friday, afike ngayo, then he goes to church, and then obviously Zapuma very late to church. So now he tells me, you know, I can't see you now because I just got to Joburg. So now I must be going to church, and then I'll see you when I come back from church, which is I'll just come to your place and sleep over. I'm like, Askis, like, where? when, how, sleep what? Ayizokwazeka kaloku ibe yenye red flag ke ngoku leyo ba izawuthini ke ngoku le nto yestep over because okokuqala you know I have kids, so I can't just have this man rocking up at my house at 12 a.m. And two, like ayenza sense because kaloku wena uyi man of God, and not just any man of God, a single and celibate and living for the Lord man of God. So andiyiboni uba izakwenza kanjani le situation. No, you don't understand. Now he tries to justify. You know, okay, one thing about young lions, they will justify and preach and convince you as to why, when it's just the two of you, then it's not really bad if you guys fornicate, because I mean, you know, I don't know if he has a free pass because like he's Jesus' cousin or whatever, but anyways, for some reason. And now I'm like, akaloksana yenye red flag because you see, the thing about me is this: I don't have a problem with people struggling with whatever they're struggling with. You can be a pastor and still have some weaknesses. You can be a pastor and still fornicate or whatever, struggle. But just speak your truth. Like, I don't like people that are one thing in public and then something else in private. That's hypocrisy, and I just don't support that on any level. Like, I prefer guys that come to me and say, "Hi, sis, I love Jesus, but if we are not gonna do the deed, then I'm sorry, mtasekhaya ndiyagqitha ndiqonda uba nam gqitha, uyanderstand. So ngoku umntu ozowupreacha yena preach against fornication, and then xa sesithetha ngoku istori sakhe sesesithi uba no, we can this and that and that. And now what's even worse is that we haven't even gone for a date. Like uzawufika kwam sofika ngobusuku, like hayibo mfundisi, so ndiqomba ayizukwenzeka ke leyo. And then after that I was a bit turned off njenguye, because now I'm like, kalokusana, like idoji le nto, like it just shows by you are a dodgy person ukubona. So excuse me. And then kube nento yoba, okay, so now I'm following him on Instagram. And on Instagram, obviously his Instagram is private, and that's where he's living the life, like them cars, them this, them that. And the thing is, I've noticed this with some men of God, or even maybe some women of God. Like, I think I do it too, to some extent. Like, I've got things that I can post about on maybe my main Facebook, on my banner account, on my Instagram, on my WhatsApp stories. Like, it's different things, like where I'm like, okay, this content is suitable for this kind of people and whatnot. So on his Instagram, he was more free and more streets, and I'm like, so there was this girl. This is now another problem. The first problem was his spiritual father. Like, I just felt there was a dodginess there. And then the second problem was him like being something else and preaching something else. And now the third problem is there's this girl that he's busy with on Instagram, like saucy pictures with this girl. And I think sister work, like I just felt by like njani sana, like sister also photo naye intimate. I remember there's a friend I used to show these pictures to. I'm like, my friend, am I overreacting? Like, look at this, is this appropriate? Abe emile umntu adamant ba no, this is his sister. Ancame ke ngoku abe like nalanto yon gaslighter ke uba like ngathi ngoku mina I'm crazy, I'm seeing things, like why can't I see ukuthi this is a sister? And then ben qomba asana. So I do not be silent. Fourth, this other day, I'm talking to him, like it's a Sunday morning. So we are talking on WhatsApp, and then as we're chatting, I'm getting into church. So I'm thinking that he must also be starting church. And then, so I asked him, like, Kanti, isn't your church starting? Because I'm about to get into church. And he's like, no, we haven't yet started because we're still doing sales. So I'm like, what sales? Because, like, nage, I grew up in churches where church is church. Like, if there's any business happening, like, in church, then it will be, like, outside at the bookshop. So, excuse me, I don't know of church and sales. So I understand that he meant sales as in selling. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like sales as in we are selling, we are still selling oil, water, this, all these things that people sell in their churches. Look, I have absolutely no problem with people who believe in those things, like where those churches where they sell stuff for whatever reason and all of that. I do not believe in that. Like, I believe in the straight Christianity that speaks of the word, where the anointing oil, if it is used, you buy it, it gets prayed for by the pastor, and then you use it yourself, or the pastor uses it on you, like simple Bible stuff. Excuse me, nothing hectic, no sales in church. So I don't know all those things, and I know Uguti, the kind of lifestyle that a church that does those things usually follows, and I don't agree with most of that that lifestyle. So I was like, no, child, this is it. Like, I had heard others before him that it was just a deal breaker, just purely because of those things. So, excuse me, I was like, sales, I put. So after that, like, and then even the things with the girl now were getting intense. Like, I remember the final straw was a picture where he had this girl on a kitchen counter. And so the girl is sitting on a kitchen counter with her legs open, and then upasta ulapha phakathi kwemelens. I was like, hayi kaloku sana ndizelwanga izolo. Sensithi I'm for the streets. I've been for the streets. I'm still very much streetwise. I know what is what, and ke ngoku andizogezelwa ngulo man of God. Lelang young lion izocimba izondenza muncu uba umntu ngoku azondenza muncu ngolu hlobo. Ayisoze kaloku akho sister umntana okwenza ezaa zinto naye. So I was like, you know what, this is it. Excuse me. So I told him, you know what, Booty, and this is it. Like, I can't do it anymore. I just feel good. There's just a lot of things that I don't agree with when it comes to your lifestyle. So cut. Yeah, man of God. Hey, I put it down as his boy. Does he not send me a voice note crying? Yo, I sent that voice note to my friends, my sister. I'm like, guys, Auntie Velelwana, akasa cry. Oh, man of God, sana, he crowed and crowed like on that voice note. Oh, please don't leave me. I can't live without you. And now here's the thing, guys. Like, I find voice note crying so fake. Like, I'm a crier, ne? But voice note, child, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what do you do? Do you record and then cry? Do you cry before record? Like, what do you do? Like, I find voice, please, if you cry on voice note, please make me understand, because Mina, I don't understand crying on voice notes. Like, it's the fakest thing ever. I'm like, you are gonna say you're fake, like, I am so not moved by these crocodile tears. I get he crowed and crowed lo voice note ndabe ngiqomba hayi sana andinakwasizi lwakhe mna lo bhuti mayiphele qha lento ibisidibanisa. So that was it, Kengo, man of God. And then as soon as I ended things with him, then I started hearing stories about him. There were now stories popping up on Facebook and from people that I know. Uguti Kati Brothers is your typical Instagram king. Like, it's those guys in Jogo, just scammers, those guys who post nice cars and whatnot as if they're businessmen. Kandi, they scam women for money. So that thing of him wanting me to pay for his apartment was actually like something that he normally does to women. Either he's gonna borrow money. I remember there was a girl that posted on Facebook Uguti, like, he scammed her 15,000 rands. I think they were also like just starting a relationship or something like that, and apparently that's his lifestyle, that's what he does. And I've since heard Uguti, there's a lot of these young lions that live off women. Like, they look out for women that have money, and then obviously they know, okay, daughters of the Most High must be ready for umtshato. So ke ngoku umuntu xa efikile wakupromise umtshato, then ke kuzoba easy nokuskema, because kaloku unalanto yoba hayi we are building together, ton. So a lot of girls have been scammed by these guys, and apparently he was one of those. So he So he ended up blocking me anyway everywhere because yaphela into yethu ndabe ndiqonda hayi ke sana I'm not moved by his crocodile tears. And then I found out all these things about him and I was like, yo guys, after God fear young lions. If you can, where possible, please stay away from these young lions. Anyways guys, that was it for today. Please remember to subscribe. You can comment and tell me your own young lion story. You can like, you can share the video, and yeah, let's get talking. Bye.